Good morning, everybody. I'm Tlish, and you're watching Coffee and Clix. Um, I just wanted to thank everybody that's viewing on YouTube, at home, or wherever you are viewing Coffee and Clix and tuning in every so often. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoy my content and enjoy today's episode of Coffee and Clix. Hi, I'm Tlish, and you're watching Coffee and Clicks. Today we are joined with Brian, Galley, and Kenny Pena. Hello, guys.
Hi,
Hello,
thanks for
hello.
having us.
Thank you for joining us on Coffee and Clicks. Um, so, just to get started, I wanted to just say, well, first of all, to the viewers at home, thank you for tuning in. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoy the content here on the channel. It really helps us out. Um, so, Brian and Kenny are pretty prominent Heroclix players in the community. Do you want to just start by talking about a little bit about your achievements and like how you got started in Heroclix in general?
uh, sure. Um, I don't have too many actual achievements. I play as high, but I haven't won a lot. I am one of the official WizKids judges, though, so definitely keep active with that. I got started in Clix roundabouts of Teen Titans. A friend of mine I play Magic with roped me into it, and it's too much fun. I was suckered in.
Kenny, what about you? How did you get started playing the
So
game?
I was, let's see, I want to say 2008 is when I first started playing. I think, if I remember correctly. Um, I forget what set. I think the first booster I ever bought was Mutations in Monsters. And I had a friend who was teaching me. I got a little frustrated, or I didn't really fully commit to it, so I kind of took a break for a bit. Came back around about Web of Spider-Man with the same friend and other people, and that's how I met some of my friends, or close here, close friends today from back then. So it's been a decade, and it just started off being a collector, playing casually, and noticing how things worked. And I was like, oh, this would be cool to try this out. And before you knew it, I'm building more um, teams and teams with more efficiency, with strategy behind it. And as far as achievements, 2012, that was the first time I ever went to a high level official tournament. It was the WizKids World Championship in Gen Con. I got third place in my first ever big event. And a lot of high placements following that. 2015 was finally the year I was able to actually take a championship home. I did it twice with the U.S. National Championship and the Canadian National Championship in the same year. So with those and a lot of top fours, top threes, eights, any high level tournament from 2012 to 2017, with very few exceptions, I was usually flirting within the top, and I love every second of it. I kind of miss competing at that high level and that high frequency, but I kind of like what I'm doing right now too, so I can't complain.
Yeah, and so do you remember? I mean, both of you, do you have like a when you graduated from, I guess, the casual level of play to like the competitive level? Do you have any particular builds that you are fond of looking back at some of the competitive tournaments that you used to play in?
um, I ran it at my first Worlds and for about every tournament I could thereafter. The Murder World team was a Red Lantern arcade grasshopper build. Um, so try to win map with arcade, and then just through the Red Lantern battery for newer players let you give penetrating poison to characters. Grasshopper could jump to any square on the map, and if you won his map, Arcade could punch through friendly characters. So you would just throw Grasshopper out there, do the penetrating poison, then Arcade would hit through him. Grasshopper respawned every time he was killed, and the cycle just kept repeating.
Mm-hmm. I remember that.
It was a fun team.
And what about you, Kenny?
I have played a lot of different teams. I always like to switch it up in every tournament. Very rarely that I play the same thing. I still like my first team. That one still sticks out to me the most, which back in 2012, it had, people remember, Giant-Sized X-Men Leech, the Fast Forces Galactic Guardians Better Rate Bill, and people remember this, the gravity feed of the main set Galactic Guardians. So there used to be a 10-figure CTD that came with sets, and there was a Doctor Strange in that one that was, just better than the Doctor Stranges in the main set. Back in the day with resources, it was a Infinity Gauntlet with only 4 gems. Everyone would tell you that if you weren't playing a full gauntlet, you were a fool. I got 3rd place. Very well could have won the tournament. I made some mistakes. That's on me. But that team to me stuck out. It's still one of my favorites. I was brand new. I would make new friends at these places. I qualified. Some of them did, some of them didn't. When I told them what I was playing, every single one of them said, "This is not a good team. It's not going to do well. I don't know what you're thinking." And that started off a string of, I'm going to prove you wrong now. So.
So for new players starting out, what advice would you give like novice players or players that are just beginning as far as strategy?
As far as strategy, for novice players, strategy is important. Don't get me wrong, but learning how to play is also important. They should just be focusing on that, getting the basics down, realizing what's right, what's wrong, and just being patient, because there's going to be, just like anything in life, when a baby learns how to walk, baby falls down and, it'll cry, but it doesn't give up. Babies eventually do walk. So just going through that. And then once you get a handle of being able to grasp the rules, pretty good idea what you're memorizing, that's when you can start focusing on what combos with what and things like that.
Yeah. Once you get, basic rules and things like placement, because placement is probably the hardest thing to get good at.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to experiment. Don't just listen to what everyone else is saying is the meta, is the, top stuff to play. Play around, try stuff out, go to your casual events and just play something new. That's how you find all the weird stuff people don't know how to handle. And if you're coming at your opponent with something they've never seen before, you've already got a leg up.
Yeah, I do find after you've kind of grappled with the rules of the game, because there are a lot of rules. It's a very kind of a labor-intensive process trying to memorize all the stuff you need to memorize. But then after that, there's just kind of taking care to read the cards of your opponent and read the cards of yourself and understand what your pieces actually do. I think that's something that really helps as well.
Yeah. Don't ever turn down the opportunity to read your opponent's cards at the start of the game. Even if it's something you've seen before, it never hurts to just take that refresher and make sure you didn't forget something.
There was a time where
suckered halfway through.
There was a time where I could say very rarely I was going to get caught off guard, or I knew everything that was going to be thrown my way. I just had a very good, solid memory when it came to dials, cards, and things like that. And I would still ask to see the cards at the beginning of the game. Just, you never know. Just quick refresher and just be like 1, 2, 3. Okay, good.
And you don't know what you don't know. You won't realize you forgot something until you take a look.
So now looking, I noticed there have been a lot of online tournaments now with the quarantine and everything. Even before that, there's been a lot of online tournaments. There's Rock Online that does tournaments on Discord. Roll20. It's getting more popular now, and I know that they just had the Gungai Cup, the second one, and they had Heroes Throwdown is doing another tournament, and they just
they had
a big Pauper tournament as well. the comic cult classic. And I mean, outside of Pauper though, just the regular post rotation modern. What do you think? How do you think the meta is shaping up? And what's your opinion about the different choices that are out there?
I'm a big fan of how the direction things are going in, especially without ID cards now. I think a lot of stuff is opening up. We're seeing massive variety of teams. I think some of the old classics can still hang. I think Gardner is still pretty good. Ultra Chase Thanos, I don't think is going to be disappearing anytime soon. But there's a lot of new stuff coming up with like the Chase Widow teams, which look pretty snazzy. Kenny, I confess I haven't seen too many of the teams. Do you know more than what's circulating around?
Well, I mean, the Gonkai Cup had a lot of different teams, and if you were playing a theme team, there were some different variations. I mean, it's already easy to say there was like 15 Justice League theme teams, but it could have been around Batman, it could have been around the starter Superman or Martian Manhunter. There's a lot of things going on. Kind of like with last year in the Cosmic theme teams where, everyone's like, oh, everyone's playing Cosmic, but what are you doing? Are you playing Astronomer? Are you playing Gardner? Are you playing Kobik? Are you playing Schumacher Roth? Like, not Schumacher Roth, the other squid guy, Starro.
Yeah.
So, even within that one word, it branches out so much, and there's diversity within that one singular keyword. So, but you hit the nail on the head. I think Gardner has quieted down a bit. Then again, even though in One Worlds, not many people played it, I think there was a lot of gears involved in playing a team like that. And whether it was patience or comfort or, just straight up not liking having to play a guy that only has 5 clicks each, it's fair. It just never caught on. Despite its success. But yeah, Chase Widows right now seems to be the big thing. I don't think it's unbeatable, and I think people will adjust, learn, see what the counters are, and that's a sign of a very healthy, evolving game, I think.
I mean, what I was thinking about Gardner is that, like, now with Cosmic, there's no cheap leadership other than really a Prez Ricard. Because now Groot's rotating out. Do you think that like a Cosmic team or any team in the meta really needs to have leadership on the team, or in order to do well? Or
it helps. It helps a lot.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, when I ran Gardner's, I ran Cosmic because why not? All the good stuff was on Cosmic, but I could easily take a team like that and break team because Gardner is very map agnostic. It's nice when you get him with all his blocking terrain, but he's got the mobility, he's got the range, he can do well pretty much anywhere.
Yeah, and that's another thing that you brought up where you could break theme. You're seeing that more and more. I think when Cosmic was a thing, for whatever reason, the options. Mixing and matching figures that weren't with the same keyword, same theme, for some reason wasn't meshing as well, or maybe we all missed that perfect combo. I don't know what it was, but that's not the case anymore. There are theme teams that are doing well, and there are teams that are not themed that could hang just as well, and that's good. That's healthy.
Yep.
I don't think you have to go into a tournament or prepare and say, man, I need to have at least +6 or +12 and have 20 Proteuses at 10 points. Exaggerating. You get what I mean, though. So that's so Gardner could potentially work. I mean, Quake is a good teammate with Gardner.
Quake
they don't share. They don't share a keyword, but There's a lot you can do, and people. It really comes down to experimenting, and what a perfect time to do, especially when people are kind of stuck at home. There's a lot of online tournaments going on. What do you have to lose? Might as well get something to try.
Yeah.
Do you think so? You mentioned Chase Widow. I mean, you also mentioned Ultra Chase Thanos. All of these high-priced figures. You have Thanos. You have Widow. War Machine, Punisher, War Machine, Q. do you think that they are like worth it? I guess as far as or like what for like take Chase Widow for a second. Like, what would you if you had to pay for her solely based on her actual value? In the meta or in the game, what price tag would you put on her?
Given she's a chase, 30 on the low end, maybe 50, 60 high end.
Okay.
I mean, right now we're stuck in this sort of perpetual pre-release pricing with her because a couple targets got the stuff, but most of it's mostly still sitting in warehouses.
There's I get your answer, Brian.
Mm-hmm.
I think being a little bit more realistic, it's eye of the beholder. It depends on the player. It depends on the need, and it depends on your collection too. Or your prep. There's so many variables. Me personally, if I came up with a team that absolutely needed her and I had no way to get her, other than cracking open boosters or just one shot buy, and I had a tournament coming up. If I need to drop $100 on her, I'll drop $100 on her. It's not a big deal to me, and that's me. A lot of people won't be able to say that, and I'm not saying that everyone should do that. I'm just speaking personally.
I remember dropping way more than I should have on the Blue Lantern entity back in the day.
And but I get what Brian is saying. Once things start circulating out a little bit more and it becomes a little bit more accessible because people will actually be able to go out, purchase it, order it, whatever the way they like to consume Heroclix. There'll be more on the market, price will drop. And I think the current price tag's close to 200 right now, which that's not for me, but not everyone. So,
but there are also other like Thanos is still around 200 and Q's like skyrocketed, but I mean Q's really good. Q's really good.
Q of the three of them, Q is the one most worth his price tag. At 30 points, he can slot onto pretty much any team. Just provides a fantastic level of support. You really can't get off of any other figure.
Black Widow can counter Q, but I still would rather have Q because I think there are more things that will be able to counter Black Widow than things that would actually hard counter Q.
Yeah.
Well, another question that was that I wanted to ask was just for fun, what would you guys say would be the 3 top sets of all time? That's something to think about. Or
I know what number 1 is in my mind. That's Avengers Black Panther Illuminati. That's the best set.
That's the one.
That's the best set ever.
That's my number 2. I'm a big fan of game design. I have to give Flash the number 1 spot for me. Just because the set was just so synergistic. The sealed games for it were just phenomenal. The set as a whole worked beautifully. Granted, it didn't make a splash in the larger game, so I don't know if it gets overlooked a lot, but that set was phenomenally well designed. Number 2, Black Panther Illuminati, because that's just such a solid set.
It hit on so many things.
I have nothing bad I can say about Black Panther Illuminati.
No, Black Panther Illuminati I definitely agree with that because the rares, even
you had commons like that Hulk were just
it was such a healthy sealed environment set where people like to say you pull chases you automatically win. I don't necessarily agree with that all the time, but even with that set, 100% that was not the case at all. And there's a lot of synergy, had special objects. It was the first time that, commons can equip the object. I get they don't come with them, but there was opportunity for it. So much customization. It was a huge set too. Close to 80 figures in the set. That's not, I guess it's more common now, but when that came out, usually sets were 60, 66 figures.
Yeah.
And, the movie just came out a few months before it. So, I mean, new people would see it and they recognize these faces. Like, on every angle you could think of, whether you're a meta player, casual player, a newbie, someone doesn't even know what the game that exists, like, it's recognizable. And when you're talking about the actual gameplay, sealed, constructed, it had such an impact. For that's why for me it's number one. I'm still surprised Brian says it's number two, but
well, Brian, what mechanics did you like about the Flash set? I wasn't around when the Flash set came out, so I don't.
The Flash figures themselves had this like Speed Force mechanic where you would get tokens if you moved and connected with an attack during the move. Then all the villains all had some sort of, well, not all of them, but often had some sort of penalty when they were moving. Like you had the turtle, which gave characters an extra action token if they moved more than 5 squares.
Oh, turtle.
Yeah, I miss turtle. Yeah, like Captain Cold dropping barriers down to restrict movement. Everything kind of worked together.
Mm-hmm.
Granted, really only within the set. Like I said, there wasn't much of that made a splash in the wider meta, but when you sit down to play Flash, whatever you cracked open, you had something that worked, and you probably had counters to everything else that was within that sealed meta. It was just a beautifully well designed set.
Yeah, I think I've seen that like speed token thing on the most recent Deathstroke, right?
Yes, yeah, they did revisit it for that.
Yes, that is correct. I think the one figure that I played the most with out of that set was Rainbow Raider. I love Rainbow Raider.
He was
as far as other sets are concerned, Wolverine and the X-Men is another one that is up there for me. They brought team bases to Marvel, and I know team bases are kind of taboo, but it was such a powerful set, and the set list was solid. The chase team with the Phoenix 5, and it was good timing back then to stay close to the comics and being accurate with them. It's no Black Panther, but it's definitely another one that's up there. Number 3, it's hard to ignore War of Light and the impact that had. Probably mostly for meta play, but another massive set covering a huge field of characters, and then introducing all these resources, entities, constructs, and maybe it was a little too much to keep up with, but for the people who did, I'm sure they enjoyed it. I know I did. I know for those 2 years, any team could have worked because there was just so much add-ons and customization. Like you could have said, I'm going to play these 5 random people that you never would have heard of in comics, and somehow, some way, between all the equips constructs,
those batteries give such flexibility. Yeah, Warlight would be my number 3 as well, just for the batteries alone.
Yeah.
That was the golden age of team building in Heroclix.
So how did the batteries actually work? Like they were
oh
boy.
So the battery had a dial on it. It would sit on the map as a sort of not character that you could attack, and you could take power actions to attack it. When you would build your battery during team construction, you would assign a lantern ring to it and various constructs. So the battery could assign its constructs to the various characters, and any character with a construct on it also gave whatever effect the construct has. Like if you had the sniper rifle, you had a range of 10. The wall construct was a free barrier for 2 squares blocking, so on. They would also get whatever benefit the ring had in it. Like the Green Lantern ring gave you willpower and sort of like a roll-off protected from outwit. Red Lantern was penetrating, and Blue Lantern perplex, but only positive. Penetrating poison.
Positively.
Sorry. Yeah. Perplex only positive. Yellow was perplex negative. All bunch of effects. The battery then had some sort of special bonus effect if all of the constructs were of its color and it had its color ring.
Mm-hmm.
So, the Yellow Lantern was one of the big ones. If what exactly did it do?
So that's the one that gave
your opponents
minus two attack if they were lower points or something like that.
Yeah, they had an errata at some point, but your opposing characters get -2 attack if they were attacking only characters of a higher point value than them.
Mm-hmm.
So you would run the play back then was you run the thing was like 250 point Superman.
That was a popular one. The green one was another popular one, which pretty much just said that a character could not take. Yeah, each character could only take one free action. So if you were playing Unimite back then and you wanted to perplex 3 times, that's not happening. Any other character that had outwit and perplex or any other combination of free actions, you only get one.
That was which battery? That was the yellow.
That was the green.
That was the green one. Yeah.
My personal favorite was the Indigo one. I played with the Indigo one a lot. That's the one where pretty much opposing characters could not draw a line of fire to you if they were more than 4 squares away.
But because you had such a array of effects, each of the was it 9 lanterns total had a ring that did some sort of nifty thing. They all had the same constructs, which were all just staple powers. Like you never don't want 10 range or barrier or plasticity.
Yeah.
And you would just build the team around maximizing whatever that battery's effect was. And I mean, there weren't a lot of teams, there weren't a lot of comic accurate stuff, but you would just dig for the effects you needed to really fine tune that team up. It was a lot of fun.
And we didn't even talk about entities. Those are character equips. They're all chases. So they went for a lot of money at the time. 25 points. You put it on any character and your dials are linked. So the chases had these powers and combat values, pretty notable, very strong. Some are, more beloved than others. And if my Superman was equipped with Heroclix at the beginning of my turn, I can increase a combat value by 1 if Heroclix had a higher combat value than Superman. So Superman had 17 defense. Yeah, on that click, because the characters are linked. So click 1. If Superman goes to 2, Heroclix goes to 2 on back then. Well, was there a sideline back then? Well, it doesn't matter. It was on your card, off the map. They're linked.
Yeah,
and then you could also pick a power that that was showing.
Right.
Yeah. So if you needed a Superman, you had a running shot Superman, you wanted him to have pulse wave. You find the entity that would give you pulse wave on click 1 and be like, boom, there you go. So now I got my pulse wave and I can rely on my battery to give me a barrier from the wall construct or whatever other things you need. And you just have all your options ready at all times, ready to go.
And that was which set?
A lot of tracking, but it was a lot of
fun.
And which set was that? That was War of Light.
War of Light, yeah.
So
that was a storyline event. I forget what year, 2014. I want to say.
Sounds right. Yeah. It's been gone a little bit.
So did you find it to be a balanced set or just kind of an overpowered set or
no? It was so degenerate that it balanced within itself.
Right.
That makes sense.
So
everyone was running batteries.
All right.
Yeah. But everyone was running different batteries. I mean, yellow, green, indigo were probably the top 3, but you were seeing every color battery show up at some point. It was the Wild West.
It really was. It really was a Wild West.
And like I said, just because you were running, the green battery doesn't mean your team was even remotely close to anyone else running green battery.
Yeah. Top 8 could be nothing but green batteries, and those 8 builds could be completely different. Other than the battery and maybe Ion, the entity, everything else is going to be different.
Yeah. Being a newer player, I find that I started around ADW or maybe Joker's Wild. So, but I find that one of my favorite sets was Mighty Thor.
Oh, yeah, that is a good one. Yeah,
yeah, because it had the equipment, it had the retaliators and stuff. It was just an all around, and then I had never really the equipment added a new element to the game that I had not experienced, and
Yeah.
I thought it to be. I mean, I still think playing equipment is just adds more fun to the game.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, you need that customization angle. It's a little bit of pizzazz to set your figures apart from the other guys.
Yeah, I mean, even like sets like EarthX, I really liked EarthX because it had all the equipment and stuff. Just to,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What about like upcoming product? What are you guys excited for in the future? As far as like as far as like the new X-Men set or the Spider-Man Carnage set that are coming out.
I'm really excited to see these WizKids designed things.
Me too.
Yeah. Yeah. You have was it Leonardo da Venom? We saw that
yeah.
Was it Samurai Spider Ham?
Yeah.
I am very curious as to what these things look like.
Yeah, he's a Hamurai, yeah.
Hamurai.
Yeah.
I hate whoever thought of that.
Yeah. Those can't wait to see those.
Yeah. So
for me, I'm excited to see Fantastic Four finally get its due. It's been too long. It's been a long time.
I am excited to try those scenarios out.
And I know a lot of people just want to have more things. I guess you could say there's Avengers fatigue or X-Men fatigue and other things like that. And so getting more Fantastic Four helps break that up a bit. And it's been 7 years. It's 2013, I think, was the last we've seen of any Fantastic Four, and that was back in I want to say Chaos War, Galactic Guardians.
Mm-hmm.
So just
we had that one zombie Doom.
Yeah,
but...
I mean, I've never.
And we had the zombie Super Scroll too. I get it, but getting them on the map and seeing what they could do and how they mesh with everything else. That's what I'm looking forward to seeing, and hopefully people are excited as I am and embrace them when they come back in.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think I'm not the biggest Fantastic Four person, but still, I think it's very refreshing that we have new characters because I always, when I first started playing Heroclix myself, like I was a collector. I still am a collector, and when I first started, like very first started, I would try to collect like every single hero and villain, that I could find, and I would even look up lists on the internet of like top 100 heroes and villains and try to get every single one. But having more modern versions of like Doctor Doom and Silver Surfer, I mean, I think it's great. It's great for the game. I think it's great for comic book fans to get new characters.
Great, absolutely. Yeah, I'm a big Doom fan, so I'm happy to finally see him. Yep.
Also, Apocalypse. We haven't had Apocalypse in a while. It looks like I saw like a preview of the House of X that he's going to be in it. I'm not sure.
They did list him, yeah.
They listed him, right?
They did list him, yeah.
So.
Oh
wow.
Seems to. I don't. Oh, I was never the biggest X-Men guy, but.
I'm a big X-Men fan too. So I know we had Unpainted, X-Men Animated, Regenesis, Electric Boogaloo set.
Wanted to say.
Yeah.
What are your opinions about the WWE?
I've enjoyed. I've enjoyed the House of X story, so
yeah,
I'm looking forward to seeing that being translated into Clix versions. That would be. I'll take as many X-Men as I can. I know other people will not. They might be tired of it, but I'm the opposite. Give me all the X-Men.
I honestly, I thought that WizKids did a great job of, I think every X-Men set that I know of has been really good. I really liked X-Men Xavier School. You said that
that's the other one, yeah.
Wolverine and the X-Men was a good set, and
giant size X-Men that was a big one too.
Yeah, I think X-Men with WizKids does a great job with the X-Men.
Yeah.
So,
you have
I like how we skipped. We skipped over Uncanny X-Men. That's like the blip.
Oh, that gave me Proteus though. I love that Proteus.
Yeah, that's it itself. That Iceman, that one of the best sculpts still in my mind. Yeah,
it's one of the few Gold Age characters I still have the Modern Age shelf, just because I can't bring myself to put them away.
Yeah, it's one of the best sculpts ever. Yeah.
So, all right, guys. So
yeah, you were asking about WWE.
Yeah, actually, what do you think about WWE?
Well,
how does it add to the game, or do you enjoy playing with those figures?
I do. I loved it. Yeah. I mean, when you play with WWE in its own universe, it's phenomenal. It flows so well. It's not the perfect 100%. It's seamless transition into modern, but it's solid. There's a lot of value to be added there. I don't think it's made its mark on the meta yet. I know in the Pauper tournaments it did. I still think there's opportunity for them to do well within their modern legality, and I'm hoping I'm not wrong. I think there are things like Triple H. There's other characters, Undertaker, especially when post rotation. ID cards are not that big of a thing that they can kind of slip in there, but it still remains to be seen. I'm optimistic about that.
Yeah. Even if nothing else, I think they're just super refreshing. We don't see a lot of really dedicated close combat characters that can actually get in there and punch something.
Yeah,
the game
they do it very well.
Right. Even if we don't start seeing them in top tier meta tournaments, they're a lot of fun.
Yeah,
I'm no wrestling fan, and I've been running Undertaker quite a bit. He's just a blast to play.
Yeah, I hate fighting your Undertaker. He hits shape change all the time when you give him the ring.
Remaker, yeah.
So what do you?
Oh, was it? You hit 8 in a row, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That was infuriating. 8 in a row. Yeah.
What's the strategy with Undertaker? Other than go ahead.
He's a sledgehammer. There isn't much subtlety there.
Okay.
You get in, and
as long as he's top dial and he has shape change, you can't really range him. And if you finally get up to his face, he could potentially roll out. You can't knock him back because he's a big guy.
Right. Remaker ring gives him poison, so he's got you tied up there, poisoning you. Then submission hold. Just free damage you don't have to roll for.
He's got stop click, so if he does take damage, he's pretty durable. His tombstone is one of the better signature moves in the game.
Yeah,
he's he's not breaking the rules and torching the meta scene on fire, but you can't argue for his value. He's delivering.
Well, do you find? I noticed what Brian said about close combat figures versus range figures. Do you find that range figures tend to be favored in competitive play?
So if you had a choice between a gun and a knife for survival, what are you taking?
The gun, yeah.
Some people will say the knife because it'll last longer. You don't need ammo. But yeah, the point is, one's a little bit easier to utilize.
Range figures, yeah, they just command a much larger threat area on the map. Right. Any turn you're not attacking the figure, you're kind of wasting your figures. Ranged characters just have less wasted turns.
Yeah. So if you're building like
easier to go puke.
If you're building a casual team, then would you, but still want to do well, would you? And you had to pick 2 attackers. Would you try to vary it and make one range and one close, or would you make them both range?
For casual, I might just do 2 close combat guys and see how far I can get. I like to challenge myself.
Right. Okay.
When it comes to casual, or just play things that I have not had an opportunity to play. Sometimes that might be chases that I just ignored. Sometimes that's that uncommon unicorn from the Invincible Iron Man set that no one really pays any attention to. So it really all depends, but. I still like to put some strategy into it to make sure that they're maximizing what they can do, whether it's good or not. But it depends. Yeah. I mean, casual night. I'm not bringing, double astronomer, Kobik, trader with 4 Groots or something like that. Like I might bring Venom, Black Panther, and other Wakandans. Yeah, he's a chase. I get it, but still, I never get to play it, and I want to have a little fun.
So, but in general, the range figures you think are strictly better than close combat figures?
Majority of the time.
Assuming, same combat values for attack, damage, and such. Character with that higher range is going to be better.
Yeah.
Okay.
But, stealth exists, energy shield deflection exists. You could still miss.
Right.
That range guy might have absolutely no answer if you get up in his face where, he has no defenses other than energy shield deflection. So you get in there and just rip him to shreds with like a saber tooth.
You might win, lose map and go somewhere with a lot of blocking. You can't work your way around.
I'm thinking like a Wolverine versus like a Hawkeye or something like that.
Yeah, it's tough to say the one is strictly better, but range you generally get more money out of, more mileage out of than close combat.
That's where WWE comes in on click 1.
Yeah.
Can't range him, but you mess up, you miss an attack, you break away from them. They're kind of like shooting fish in a barrel, but it gives them that opportunity to at least to get in there and do something first before things either go really, really well or really, really bad.
Yep.
Yeah, no, that's why I like the WWE team ability, because it seems to even the playing field a little bit.
It is a nice one.
Yeah.
Do you think that there are any other outside of superheroes like not that could be clixed, but that you would want to be clixed as I don't know, Star Wars or something like that. I don't know.
I mean, Star Wars would be nice. Avatar would be fantastic. There's
like Avatar Pandora.
Yeah, of course. That's the one. I mean, Clix is such a flexible game. There's so many things you could argue could be clixed. And honestly, like I said, I don't watch wrestling. I'm not a wrestling guy. I love the wrestling Clix figures. If you can take a property and you can make it interesting in the game, give it nifty special powers, things we haven't seen before, I'd be all over it. Yeah.
So before I got super deep into Heroclix, I was super deep into video games, fighting video games, like Street Fighter, Marvel vs. Capcom, things like that. So when Street Fighter set came out back in the day, I was so excited about it. I would love to revisit that, whether it's Street Fighter or Marvel vs. Capcom, things like that, to see it in Clix form. That would be, I would absolutely love that.
That's interesting, because if you did, let's say you did Street Fighter and you rebooted it, would you make it similar to WWE where there are separate powers or a team ability that protects them some way?
I haven't thought that far yet. It's one of those things like the fantasy things. Everyone wants to have something, whatever property, and then you ask them how they would do it. It's like, oh, I don't know. I just want it to exist. So I think I'm at that point right now when it comes to that happening. It happened so long ago. It hasn't happened since. But yeah, I got nothing else on top of that.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I think a lot of people like to think about the different properties that could become Heroclix.
Yeah. You could pick any sort of action property out of a hat, and odds are it can be made to fit.
Yeah, I'm sure somebody's discussed it somewhere.
I mean, look at the hit. I mean, we have BioShock. We have Pacific Rim, Iron Maiden.
Fantastic.
Yeah, is there Iron Maiden
really? But we do.
There are Iron Maiden clips. They're not bad either.
No, they're not.
They were great, but
out of all the names that get thrown at you, that thing clicks. Iron Maiden's probably the one that sticks out the most. Like how or why or really, We had Lone Ranger, which that's the last. We'll ever talk about that.
You sure we did? I don't recall that one.
Yeah, it happened.
I'm not sure. I think you're pulling my leg here.
Dota. There's a Dota starter set.
The map is lovely.
That
I would love to get more giant maps like that.
Mm-hmm. Lord of the Rings. There's an entire set dedicated to Lord of the Rings for a few years. Multiple sets. Throughout all the movies and even The Hobbit, I think. There's like 14 different Gandalfs, I think.
Yeah. Were the Lord of the Rings sets, when they first came out, were they competitive?
They went straight
so
to
they were never modern. They were never modern, and if they were, absolutely, they would have.
There was some good stuff in there.
I was very young into the game playing, and I mean, I bought it. I had fun with it. I knew it wasn't modern, but it was so damn good. And I was still playing some casual games, so that's why I got into it. And I just keep on shaking my head like, why wasn't this modern?
Cool.
Yeah, I think that was a bit of a misstep on WizKids back in the day. Not letting it hang.
Didn't the Lord of the Rings have this like epic mechanic or something like that? I don't know. Was that?
It did. It was that was Lord of the Rings. It was some characters had epic actions, which were special power actions that could only be taken in, I want to say, 400-point games or higher. So you wouldn't ever see it at a 300-point game. But
they were also double power actions too.
They were double powers. You're right.
Yeah.
But you wouldn't have ever seen them in meta if it was a modern legal thing. But for like the big, massive, like Helm's Deep type battles, you could get some pretty snazzy stuff going on.
Yeah.
It's cool. Yeah. All right, guys. Well, thank you for talking with me on Coffee and Clix. It's been a pleasure talking with you.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, appreciate it. Love it.
Anytime we get to talk Clix, it's always a fun time, always a good conversation. So, thank you, and don't forget, everybody, wake up and smell the Clix.